Hey everyone! Today we have kind of a bonus report card episode on enhanceability. I initially gave enhanceability an F in my most recent video and thought nothing of it, but clearly I poked the sleeping bear with this one, and this spell has a lot more to talk about than I originally said. A lot of people went to the comments to defend the spell, saying it is as high as A or S tier when I ranked it an F. As of now, my community poll has 40% of respondents putting it in B tier, which is the highest I allowed due to the 4 option limit, 30% in C, 20% in D, and 10% in F. Clearly, this spell is very divisive. I'm making this video as a quick follow up to explain both sides a bit and elaborate on my opinion. I'm going to start by saying off that I was wrong. I was too harsh on this spell. I think this is actually a mid to high D tier spell, maybe even as high as C if I wake up on the right side of the bed. That's because at the end of the day, there are a handful of times where this spell is very good to cast, so it just cannot be F tier. Another thing I want to bring up, and I think this will help you understand why I rate enhanceability so low. In my honor mode runs, where I'm treating the run as a challenge run, if I have 4 party members, I try to limit my long rest as much as I can. Depending on my party, I would like to long rest 5 times or less. So that's the level of resource management I'm working with when I'm playing the game. If your goal in honor mode doesn't involve limiting long rests, then absolutely enhanceability is going to be a great spell for you. But for me, it's usually not worth the spell slot because I only get so many. The last thing I want to bring up at the start here is that 60% of people in my community poll so far have this spell at C tier or lower. There's clearly a lot of support for this spell, but also a lot of people are rating it low. So please understand, I'm not trying to rage bait you or lead you astray when I'm giving this spell a low grade. Let's now jump into some more discussion on the spell. I'll try to summarize some of the points that the supporters of the spell made, and then I'll elaborate on my opinion. At the end, you can have your own opinion either way. At the end of the day, this is just a game. We all love it, and you should play it in whatever way makes you the happiest. So there are 3 main uses that supporters brought up in the comments. The first one, and in my opinion, this is the only real solid use that I overlooked, is using enhanceability on transmutation wizards when they're rolling to double potions. This is worth the spell slot. For your level 2 spell, you can get tons of strong items very reliably. This is a great use. I did not take it into account, and it's one of the big reasons that I'm bumping the spell up to a D. I gave it a B in specific builds for this reason. But I'm not giving it a ton of credit for it, right? It's still a D tier spell, and the reason I'm not giving this that much credit is that I, as a rule, don't camp cast. And I believe most of the time transmutation wizards come up solely as campcasters. I'm rating spells as if you are using someone in your party to cast them. I think that's the way most people play the game. It's the way I play the game. And if you do use campcasters, then any buffing spell is free. And you don't need my ranking to know if you should cast it. Since it's a free spell, just cast it. Another use case that was brought up was to steal items in the early game. I think that this is a somewhat real use. I mean, clearly, if people are bringing up that they've done it, but this is niche. It's definitely very niche. You can get enhanceability at level 3, and you can get the Gloves of Thievery or Graceful Cloth once you either enter the Mountain Pass or unlock Brem's secret stash. So enhanceability really only has a place for a portion of Act 1 between when you unlock the spell and get those items. Again, that's a real use case, but it's for a small part of the game. And I have a question. How much do you guys steal? And how much do you need to steal? I found that if I loot thoroughly, I'm never in need of gold. So stealing isn't important in my mind, and it's not worth the spell slot. The last point that I saw brought up was to just simply use it for advantage on important dialogue checks. And I've got another question. How often do you fail dialogue checks? And how many of them are life or death? I found that the number of encounters with truly crucial ability checks can be counted with my fingers. There are a handful to avoid boss fights, and a handful to gain long lasting or permanent buffs. And if you think enhanceability should be rated highly for those checks specifically, that's reasonable, but I don't think that. I've found that between guidance, friends, thaumaturgy, equipment that boosts checks, and most importantly, inspiration, I can reliably pass every check I need. My thoughts overall can be summarized pretty well by a commenter on the enhanceability poll who said, in BG3, ability checks are simply less important. Only about 20% of them, being generous, significantly change the story or events. Slap a guidance on them, burn some inspiration, never fail anything important. That's been my experience with the game, and if that's not true for you, then maybe this spell is good for you, but for me, it's D tier. I will concede, I was too harsh in my original video, but I'm not going to give it too much credit. It's going to move up to D tier with some bonuses to a few greats that I've highlighted, but that's it. Well, that's all I wanted to go over for this video. I hope you enjoyed the discussion on a spell that I did not expect to be so divisive. If you haven't already, go vote in the poll in the description on what tier you think the spell should be, and I'll see you all next Tuesday for the next report card. Have a good one.